guys in here, one of them
So
says
Word Project
Capture
2,
Mike was with Donald Trump in
we left it
2017
where we
at a
had just started
He started
setting
doing
our
promo codes on Vine. I was doing it
normal
10 years prior.
style
This is
to
a
have
big
double
lie.
space times New
You're a
Roman.
lying lawyer.
Remember how we did
I had
that?
come
We just
prepared
clicked on the style up there,
yesterday, and the record
right click,
reflect what
and
happened.
modified it. And I can see that it has times New Roman 12 point
Come prepared
double
to
spaced.
show you a series
And
of video clips,
I can always go back and
many
make
of
more
which
changes to the
that
normal
was
style.
CNN during
If I make this paragraph, make a change to this paragraph and say, oh, make that normal, then any other paragraph with normal style would have whatever settings in there, including paragraph settings,
discovery
and
responses,
I think it's mainly
because
paragraph
how
settings,
yesterday
but
went.
font setting as well.
Number of emails
Okay,
that
so
I
let's
wasn't
now
able to show
begin
you,
the content of
and
this,
I am going
and
to
we're going
have
to start
and reserve
with
the right
MLA
to
style
forward
headers
to
because
order you
we're
to be
uh,
reimposed on
putting in
additional issues with additional time.
the
I will be
document
seeking
And I'm gonna seek
to have a nice, lovely header at the top with the author
Everything you said
and page
comes
number.
After you sued me, everything I said.
Now,
You're
how
an
do I edit
evil,
the header?
Evil man.
I can come to my document, I go to the very top,
Very evil. What you've done to
And I
my
can zoom out a
employees,
little bit.
everything that you were gonna say comes after you sued me. Everything I said.
am I not
and
seeing
I
my
stand
header?
by what I said.
I don't
You're
see
an
my left
ambulance
margin.
chasing lawyer,
That's strange.
evil
Oh,
person.
I had turned
You
off,
and
I had
Eric
turned it,
Coomer.
set it to hide white space,
So you will
I
be
think.
sued. Don't worry. And you will be sued
And
big,
my
'cause
book
I
is
won't
not
back
coming up
down.
for me.
All right, anything else?
I got better things to do with my life.
Something
We're
just
trying
went
to save
wrong
a
here
country
in
here,
my
not you
textbook.
guys ambulance chasing lawyers
Let me
trying to
bring
get
it up
money
again
out.
here.
People that had nothing to do with it.
Online
My
textbooks.
employees, if I
Stop
sat here and
responding.
they sat here and looked at you guys, they'd say,
Thank you
"How
very
could
much,
people
Vital
do
Source.
this? How could anybody do this
See if I can
to
get back to
anybody?"
it.
And that's, and did I say, and you wonder why I said that, and I apologize for calling your friend a scumbag.
Well, I'll have to go for
But
a
I'm
memory
so
here.
upset what you
I
did, not
need
to
to
me, but
edit,
my
enter the
employees.
header.
What
It's
you
going to
did to my
contain
employees,
the
why
author and
would you
page
do
number
that?
right aligned.
You know,
And how do I do that?
what you
Well,
did is horrible.
I can
Then
go
nothing.
to
You
insert,
guys, and then you wonder why I sit here. How
header,
do you guys sleep at night?
and I'm
You
going to
obviously
choose
don't have
a
my pillow.
blank header because I'm going to type what I want up
I mean,
there.
I just can't.
And
fathom
now
it. That's
I
why
see
I'm so
my header.
upset. When you know how
And
mad I was
I'm
when
going to
I
want to put in
yesterday?
some text
You're
there.
right.
It's
I
going
should
to
have
be
read this, but I've got
the
other things
author
going on in
of
my life
my-
that are a lot more important than
of
these
this paper.
frivolous lawsuits.
And
It's
the
the most
author is our
important thing to
fictitious
our country
person
ever,
named
to my
Yazzie.
children, my grandchildren,
I
everything.
do want my page number and author to be over on the right side. I'm going to then
Keep going.
right align
Waste an
this
afternoon.
before I
Yes, do
type.
think you guys and them
And now
are
I'm going to
traitors
type
our
in that
country by what you
placeholder,
did to my
Yazzie.
bill? Yes. We are
That's
made in
my
America.
fictitious
You
author.
guys are bizarre.
And I've just
What
lost
does this
connection
have
to
to
my
do with
textbook.
me? I didn't
so sad.
badmouth Eric Coomer.
Let's see if I can get that
I don't
back.
care if Newsmax did or whatever they did to him. That's
Something
their
went
business.
seriously
That's
wrong
their
here with
business
my
with
textbook.
Eric Coomer. I mean, what they've done to me and what they've done to our country, absolutely. I stand by
Looks
that.
like
You
the
guys served me
website went
papers.
down.
You went against my pillow, served my
Huh.
pillow and me papers.
The
in a
website
lawsuit.
to my
You are
textbook
part
just
of a
went
criminal
down.
crime family as far as I'm concerned.
There's
I
one
couldn't be the
disadvantage of
best
using the
person
online
to
version of a
do. I think
textbook.
they played a role.
You-
Of course
if
they did.
this
And not only sue me for billions.
author goes down, I'll just have to use my other Word document as my reference here. My other research paper. I'll try to, yeah, I'll grab that in a second. I think I remember what I did here, but I have my other document here. Okay, so we're going to put Yazzie, and also we want the page number on the right side. So how do I do that? Well, I'm over here in my header. I want the page number. Now, I don't want to type number 1, even though I know this is page number 1. I want it to automatically put page numbers in here, and that would be under the Insert menu, page number. Insert page number. And then I'm going to choose insert the page number at the current position in a plain number style. There's lots of styles available for me, but I'm just going to go plain number style. And look at that, it automatically inserts a page number for me. If I have additional pages in my header, they'll show up. So how I got to the header? Because it wasn't showing here in my margin initially, I had to go insert header, but now I see it up there grayed out. If I just double click up there, I can always edit my header and add more things to it. And just remember, I can always do that in the footer as well. I can double click in the footer and add text in my footer. In this document, I don't think we put anything in the footer, but I can always edit the header, double click. To get back to normal text, double click back in the normal text area. Now we are ready to put in the information about our author of our paper. So this would be Nina Yazzie is our author. Hit enter. Notice it's doing the double space paragraph like I told, normal style. And the teacher is Mr. Slavovnik. Cool sounding teacher name. English 101 is the course. And October 6th. MLA style of our document. I can always do Control S anytime after I've done some work to make sure it has saved. Now this next line is going to be the title of my paper, and I want to show you that when I have a blank line ready to be typed, as I hover my insertion point on the left side, see that little icon that shows up? And as I come to the middle, that icon changes to a center. If I hover to the right, it becomes left aligned, and then at the very right side, it shows our right aligned sentence. So they call this point and click. If I'm here and I can point and click here, that will make this line centered. Double click, and now I can type the title is going to be Health Concerns of Using Technology. I hit enter, and I realize I have a typo. I'm going to right click, fix that typo there. Right click, fix that. If I hover somewhere else, I can go back to our left aligned. And remember, I can always do left aligned up there if I want this left aligned. But I'm just going to come over here, do the same thing. Click. Click, double click. And there I have. Oh, and if I click somewhere, notice it actually puts a tab mark on my ruler for me. That's kind of irritating. I can click and drag that off my ruler if I don't want that tabbed in. And now I can start typing that line, which will be the widespread use of technology. I'll put it up here so it's nice and readable for you. Widespread. I have seen that my Word is not doing grammar corrections with blue squigglies. I haven't figured out. I think it's a bug somewhere. Now I could just hit enter to then continue to the next paragraph. It's doing some auto correction as I go. Oh, why is my first line not indented? Oh, you know what? I haven't set my first line indent. This one, I think I just did a tab in without setting the first line indent. So let's set the first line indent, and then we'll do it on this paragraph too, by grabbing that top little caret right there and dragging him to the half-inch mark. See how I can drag that little caret right there? Now another way to do first line indent is to come up here to our paragraph formatting dialog right there, and I can set my first line indent to be 1/2 inch. That dialog lets me adjust my first line indent. I don't have to drag the caret, but that's an easy way to do it with your ruler. And if you're not viewing your ruler, you can always view the ruler, check it there. Now I realize I hadn't done that, and then I had already started a new paragraph, so I'm going to set that paragraph's first line indent also. And now from now on, further paragraphs will remember that first line indent. If I want all my normal paragraphs to be first line, I could do update normal to match selection, but I don't want it to be on every paragraph. I'm just going to mark this paragraph, and then all subsequent paragraphs will remember. So now we're ready to continue the second paragraph. Check for any typos, and do I have enough spaces there? I am bugged by my grammar correction is not showing the proper number of spaces. I know there should be another space there. It doesn't. It's not showing my problem. I'm gonna have to fix my grammar correction is not working. All right, let's put in the next paragraph, and we're going to be coming to our first major topic is citations. But let's get this paragraph going here. A, repetitive. Strain injury. RSI is an injury or disorder of the muscles, nerves, tendons, ligaments, and the joints. Technology related. RSIs include anytime you're going to refer to something later as an acronym, be sure to identify it the first mention of it. And I hope you never have to deal with this. I got a typo there. Along with tingling of the fingers. Oh, tingling. Along with numbness and tingling with the thumbs. Along with numbness, numbness and tingling in the thumb and first two fingers. Fix my spelling editor, right click, burning. Now one thing we want to do before we start citations and parenthetical references, let's just come along here and purposely misspell something like the word the. T-E-H, and hit space. Look how it automatically corrected the word the. Grammar is not showing that I have too many spaces there. That bugs me. But suppose I type something that it autocorrects and I didn't want it autocorrecting that. Anytime it autocorrects, it will leave behind a little indication that it autocorrected it. If you hover over that word, you'll see a tiny little line appear right beneath it. I can go now to autocorrect options on that word and decide whether or not either I don't want it autocorrect that particular one, or I can actually update my autocorrect options in my autocorrect dictionary. So let's go there just for a little trip to my autocorrect dictionary. There's another way to get there through the options autocorrect, but if it autocorrects a word, I can go to autocorrect options, and I can find a long list of things it is already autocorrecting for me. And I'm going to put an entry in there for the word computer that I keep misspelling. And I'm going to delete an entry just for me. And I'm going to put an entry in here. Pretend I've realized I keep misspelling a particular word that I'm going to use a lot, and I would like it to be in my dictionary. I can come to my autocorrect dictionary and type in the word that I want, that I keep misspelling, by adding a new one here. I can type in a new one that's going to be comp-tour, and I can put in the proper correction, should be computer. If you commonly misspell a word you want it to autocorrect for you, you can actually add a new entry to your dictionary and then click add. And now if ever I misspell computer, I'm going to click OK and misspell computer purposely, comp-tour, and I hit space. Look how that automatically autocorrected. It leaves a little line underneath there, so I could always come and say, what do I want to do? I can autocorrect other words. I could put a dictionary in here if, like, when I spell Emmaus, it doesn't recognize that. I could say, or I misspell Bible, B-B-L-E, correct that with Bible, and I don't think I need to capitalize that. It'll do that autocorrection for me. So whatever you type, and I would suggest, if you're doing papers a lot and you find that, go ahead and update your autocorrect. One thing about autocorrect, it only follows your login profile. So if you autocorrect it when you're logged in with your user in here, but then you're logged in somewhere else, it won't remember that unless you're logged in as that same person on that same computer. Okay, so now, before the period after the word fingers, we want to now put in a reference. Oh, there I'm getting a grammar site suggesting there's something wrong there. I want to put in a reference to the Zhao. Did we mention Zhao? Oh, we want to reference where we got this information. And we're going to do that going to our references ribbon. Here we go, references ribbon. Click on references. Here in the references ribbon, you have so much here for you to make your document, especially if it's a long document, look very nice and professional and save you lots and lots of time. So if you're planning on writing any long papers, get familiar with your references. If you're required to do footnotes and bibliographies, works cited, so you don't get accused of plagiarism, be sure to have this. Any higher level courses that do papers, you're expected to do this without a lot of explanation from the teacher. So we're going to be inserting a citation to a paper by someone named Zhao. And to do that, I come here to Insert Citation, Add New Source. Insert Citation, Add New Source. And where my insertion point is, that's where it's going to appear. But now I'm ready to add information about someone. And this is where I'm going to need to have my textbook. My boy, my internet just bonked out there. Let's see if Schoology is still up. Looks like my connection to Schoology went down too. That's the weirdest thing. Huh. Well, let me bring up the information that needs to go there. Now my computer is freezing up on me. It's because this dialog is up. Let me cancel that, and I'll come back to that. That dialog was blocking my other word here. I'm going to bring up the dialog here for a second here, and have that source. Man, Word is just being a pain for me today. I got WordPad for a second here. got internet troubles, and I have Word messing me up. Okay, the source that I want to put there, or is that right there? Insert citation, add new source. Here is the source. The author is Zhao, comma, Shen Li. And sorry, that is kind of tiny for you. It does not do spelling corrections inside of these. So you got to get the spelling right. It's up to you. The source for this is a periodical. And watch as I change the source to be a periodical instead of a website. It changes what bibliographic fields it's expecting based on MLA style, which is my style that I should have set. We can come back and change that MLA style if you have this set to something else. The title of the paper is Technology Aches and Pains. The periodical title is Monthly Medical and Review. The year is 2021. Month of July. We're going to skip day and pay, but we are going to put n.pag dot, and the medium is web. Don't you think that if I'm referring to something on the web, I should have the URL? I think so, but according to the book, MLA doesn't yet require URLs for periodicals or websites. If I want to show the URL, I can turn on Show All Bibliography Fields, and it will leave the ones that it's expecting with a red star by them or recommended, and I can find that I can actually put in a URL if I had it. So you can add other fields if you say, well, show me everything possible by clicking here. And I believe if you do that, I think it will show up in your bibliography as well if it had a URL. So I would recommend, if you are referencing a website, to me, I would always put the URL in there. So watch what happens now when I click OK. Now don't worry if your number here isn't the same as mine. That's a simple reference from Word. Once I click OK, watch what shows up after the word fingers. I have now a parenthetical reference. And if you don't have MLA style chosen, just go ahead and choose MLA up here, and it will put the reference in the correct format. If I choose a different reference, see how it changes my parenthetical reference format? If I go back to MLA, it puts it in the expected format for an MLA parenthetical reference. I can always come back and edit the source to check the information that I have about that. All right, now we'll continue this paragraph, and then we'll be doing a footnote. Okay, so I just start typing, and it will wrap the word if it needs to. Factors that can cause these disorders include prolonged typing or mouse usage and continual shifting between a mouse and a keyboard. Taking continual breaks and exercising the hands and arms can help reduce chances of developing these headed injuries. Period. And now we're ready to bring in another references concept here of bringing in a footnote. We're going to put a footnote. They come after the period, whereas a parenthetical reference came before the period. At the end of this sentence, we're going to put in a footnote. by clicking Insert Footnote, and it will send me down to the bottom of the page. And I can zoom out a little bit so you can see here's where I was. It sent me down into the footnote area, and now I'm ready to type in my footnote, which says, according, I'll zoom in a little bit for you, according to Clark and Nadir, tendonitis of the wrist and carpal tunnel syndrome can lead to permanent physical damage if left untreated. Now we are going to put a parenthetical reference here, but before we do, we realize that our paragraph is not double spaced like we expect for the requirements for this paper. Not only are paragraphs to be double spaced, but our footnotes should be double spaced, 12 point times Roman. Now I could modify my footnote style, I suppose, or just modify this footnote by right-clicking Style. Right-click Style, and it will modify, I believe it will modify the style of this, of all footnotes. Let's see. Right-click Style, and I'm going to click Modify now and change the font. It has Times New Roman, but the font size needs to be 12 instead of 10. And I should be double spaced. I have an icon for double spaced. That little guy will give me double spaced. If I want to verify that, I can come to the Format button, Format Paragraph, and I see, yes, that set it to be double spaced. So what this is doing, this is actually modifying the style for footnotes. So this is the same as Style Modify up in the Home tab. And I click Apply, and now that should now show double spaced. So I could have come up here, I'm down in the footnote, and let's see, is that showing here? Oh, I guess the footnote style isn't showing up there in the main style section. Okay, so I have to right-click Style to modify the style of the footnote. So remember how I did that? Right-click Style, updated my font and double spacing, and then I clicked OK. Oh, here I could actually add it to the Styles Gallery there if I want to. I'm just going to do that for fun, see what happens. Add to Styles Gallery. And let's see if it shows up there. Yeah, look at that. My footnote now shows up in the Styles Gallery. You don't have to do that. I was just experimenting. Now, since we referred to somebody named Clark and Nadir, we would like to know what in the world they say and who they are, what the information is about them. But suppose I don't have the information right now. What would I do? Well, I could simply
Sure. Now you got to double down and do it some more. But I guess you all lawyers, they
reference
say
them
lawyers,
and
you
then
all
later
get a piece of the pie. I
come
get that.
and
You know, that's nice.
It's your belief that Mr.
update
Keene and
the
myself
information
are
I have
criminals
about
as
them.
well.
And that's what I'm going to
What you
do
did
here.
is criminal. And
I'm
you're
going
criminals, but
to
what
say,
you've
well,
done
I
is
don't have my
criminal.
notes
What you're
about Clark
doing
and
today
Nadir.
is criminal.
So let's just
Absolutely
add
criminal.
the
You're taking
citation.
money you
So I
don't
go to
deserve.
References,
You're trying to attack people that
insert
don't have done
citation,
nothing to you,
add
and
the
you're wasting my
placeholder,
time with a frivolous lawsuit
and just
because
put the
some
word
judge
Clark.
didn't look at this last summer and get rid of it.
And then
say,
when I
"Are you
find my
kidding me?
notes
You can't
about
sue
where I
this
got the
guy for this
information,
because
I
you
can
went and attacked his
update
company
that.
and got him so he can't go on TV.
But it
I
will
never
at least
talked
put in a
about your career in my life.
parenthetical
That's what you
reference for me.
did that to Newsmax.
And
you
then
served me
I
papers.
can type
Everything
the
I
period.
said after you served me papers, I stand by it. Coomer's
Now
gotta be part of
suppose
it, and you guys are just as criminal
I've done
like you
that,
did to me.
and now I found my notes.
It's a criminal crime.
How would I
family you're
update that?
describing here
There's
that
two
Mr.
ways to
Keene
do
and
it.
you believe are
I could
part
come
of.
up here to
Who
Manage
else is in that
Sources,
family?
I don't know, maybe you run it, I don't know.
and I
Check
see
it.
that there's my
Maybe
Clark
that's
with
why
a
you
question
served me,
mark.
so you don't, you know,
I could click on that
who
and
knows?
click
I don't know.
Modify or Edit,
I said,
and I can
criminal crime
update
family? You know,
that
that's
information.
That's what they do.
But while
it's
I'm
all
here,
kinds
I
of- you
also
have a
see
cover
that,
up, you got
hey, I have a ton of
there,
other
you gotta
references
put
that
the
I've
image
used
up
in
to
my
the roll
other
so nobody
papers
says
I've written
anything about it.
while logged into
Nobody
the same
talks about
user.
it. You
It's
sue an
remembering
attack-
all my
you
other
attack somebody, a
references
company
that I have
never
used
done
in and in my all
That's
my other
criminal.
writings.
You too, it's
Now,
criminal.
wouldn't
guys.
it be
can't
nice
get
if
around
I
it.
didn't have to
What you did
rewrite
is
all
terrible,
those
it's evil,
source
it's terrible,
references
it's wrong.
for my
And that's
papers?
it.
I
There's
can
things in
actually
my
do
life
all
that are a lot
this,
more important than
and as I'm in the
frivolous
library
lawsuits.
reading
The
books,
only one-
I
and
can
I'm not
put
blaming you
references
for
in
the
one
frivolous stuff when
document.
you put it up.
I can
Because it should have
actually,
been
if I
done,
send that
9
document
months ago when the
to
judge
someone,
should have looked at this
it
and
will
said,
have all
"I'm
those
sorry,
references in there
you
that
guys,
I
this
can
is
copy
bizarre.
into my
Goodbye."
document.
And
There are
and
actually
dumped
people
it,
that
and the judge
sell
didn't do that.
documents
And that's
containing
disgusting that she
references
did
to
not
all the
dump this.
possible journals you might be using to write papers, and it will generate these references for you. I know on websites you can go and it'll show you what the reference should look like, but maybe sometime they may say, here's the reference, copy paste it right into your Microsoft Word sources. I don't know if anyone does that yet. So I want to edit the Clark reference. I could have done it here in Source Manager. Another way to do it is come down here, click on that, and then edit source there. That takes me to editing of this source for what that should contain when I reference that. So now I'm going to edit that source. Click on that, and now I can update that reference. Oh, and remember, one of the reasons I'm doing this, not simply to have nice looking parenthetical references, but as I do this, I'm preparing for my bibliography to be automatically generated for me if I put this information correctly. So it's not only giving me good parenthetical references and MLA style, but it will generate a bibliography later on. So let's put the information we need for this. And it's going to be, first of all, it is a website source. So let's find web. There's website. And the author is two people. Now, if I don't remember how to make two authors, I can come over here to the edit and actually add my authors here, and it will put it in the correct format for me. So the first author is Clark, last name Clark, first name Addison, middle name Lee. I can add that as an author, and now I can add the other author, which is Nadir, first name Aisha, A-I-S-H-A, and middle name Sati. And I can add that author. I can always come and edit. Oh, it doesn't let me edit my authors if I have something wrong there. Let's see if I click. Huh, that's interesting. It doesn't let me update that there. If I can change my order though if I wanted to. Clicking OK puts the authors in the correct format for my source. Now I could just as well have typed last name, first name with a semicolon in between to adjust my authors. But that little helper gives a little help at formatting correctly. Name of the webpage is Repetitive Strain Injuries. Actually, sorry, this is a book, not a website. This is a book. There we go. It's a book. I think there's a website later on. The book is, Repetitive Strain Injuries. The year is 2021. The city is Boston. Publisher, Lighthouse Publishing. And the medium is print. Now, if I ever wanted to add additional information that I have about this, I can always open up more bibliography fields, and I could add, suppose the time I read it. Let's put 2022 is when I actually was able to access the book, and say it was October 1st. I could add that. And I don't know how it's going to show up in my bibliography, but since I had that information, it shouldn't hurt to put that information in there. And if even I want to refer to specific pages in the book, that might be useful. But notice it does not have a red star next to it. It's not a recommended field by MLA. And if I click OK, it updates my parenthetical reference. Something that they show in the textbook is in this parenthetical reference, I can also modify the citation, and I have choice of suppressing the title and year, even though title isn't showing. I can make sure the author is suppressed and maybe just show the pages 65 to 66. If I click that, oh, maybe I do want to suppress the title. Come back, edit citation. Yes, let's suppress the title and click OK. And now I have the citation in the format that my instructor wants me to put parentheticals. So although it's MLA, it is suppressed author and title. Watch what happens if I choose a different style of citation. Let's just suppose someone said, oh, wait a minute, we meant Turabian. It'll automatically update every citation to be Turabian style. And that's the nice thing about references. If someone says, wait a minute, we meant Chicago, it fixes all your references to match the style of your references. And let's then go back to MLA, and everything gets back to MLA. And I realized I see a typo there. Now my grammar errors are showing up. All right, now we're ready to continue and finish this paper. Going back up here to my paragraph, now hit enter, we'll start a new paragraph. And it's remembering every paragraph has first line indent. And I'll continue the, I think it's almost, yeah, we're almost to the end of our paper. People, gotta talk about those earphones now. People often listen to sounds from their, don't know why they didn't call it music. Of the ear. This is a paper for someone that's never heard of earbuds before, I guess. It automatically jumped to the next page for me here. If you want to see the previous line without it hiding your, or without the white space showing, I can double click on this little gray right here to hide that white space. And now I can see the previous page along with the previous paragraph that I was typing. So I can hide the white space if it's useful to see the text above me. And let's continue the sentence then. Canceling technology. Lower volumes can help to minimize potential hearing loss. And now we have our third parenthetical reference. That's going to be Mr. Sanchez. So let's insert Sanchez. And this time, we don't have the full citation yet. We're going to add just the placeholder. We know it's going to be Sanchez. We'll come back later and modify that one. That's going to be the web page. So we're just going to say, oh, we're referring to Sanchez. We'll come back to that. But first, we'll finish our last paragraph. Then we'll come back and update that source. So I'll hit enter, and now my last paragraph. A very short paragraph as our last paragraph. It's basically a conclusion to the paper. So there's our last sentence. Only thing left to do before we'll finish for today is to update the source for Sanchez. And then we'll have a stopping point. Yes?
Can you go back up to the end of the page before this? I missed it.
Okay. Right there. End of that first paragraph. So I'm going to zoom out just a bit so I can get to my source for Sanchez here. There he goes. And I'm going to update the Sanchez source. Remember, we just made it a placeholder. Update source. Oh, let me let you see everything here. I'll zoom out a little bit more for you. There we go. There. Now you can see more while we're updating the Sanchez. Remember, I can do edit source. I'll put that over here. So we're going to edit the source for Sanchez. And his is a website. And the author is Sanchez, Jorge Mario Sanchez. The webpage is Technology and Your Hearing. The year 2021, month of October, day 1, and medium is a web. They do not give us the URL. To me, that should be required for referring to a website. Let me put that to the side so you can see as much as possible there. So there's our author information, and here is our document. Let's see if it won't let me shrink that while this is open. So once you have that filled out, since we're coming to the end here, I'll stop there, and we can, if you need more information, you can email me if you're missing some, or check the textbook. There's just a little information to put in here. About the only thing left to do in our document is then to put in a works cited. We're going to be putting in a new page and then using the insert bibliography to fill that in. So if you get this far, I'll leave this up here for now so you can finish this up. Save your document where it's at, and next time we'll be finishing this with the works cited bibliography, reviewing some of this. Remember, managed sources lets you manage all your sources in this paper as well as other papers that you have ever opened or that you have on in your current user. Your sources follow your documents. And if you have that saved, you can go ahead and head out to chapel. And I'm going to try to figure out what went wrong with my websites. It was not letting me connect.
Website.